Okay, welcome everyone. Let's start lesson one. To the lesson, we'll go through LO1, learning outcome one. There's a couple of set. If you're having question, please drop me in .co.uk and I'll try my best to get to you as soon as possible. Okay, so this is good looking understanding theories and principle of taxation and taxation system. Each lesson will go through one of those. So please, whenever. Okay, the aim of this unit to enable the individuals to understand the taxation and the effect of the affect individuals. And this unit will be focused on the income tax, national insurance contribution, and capital gain tax. Okay, so always please when you start anything, always good to be reflect scale 1 to 10 how much already your current knowledge about the taxation and the key indicative content. Each LO each week we'll go through one LO, 3 weeks 3 LOs, and then of course your assignment discussion will be taxation system principle and the focus on the UK taxation system, tax basic, tax structure, progressive, regressive, and proportional tax, and the tax planning, which is the legal tax avoidance and tax avoidance, and the key difference between the tax planning and avoidance and different scheme ethical, the ethics is the moral principle that's really we need to be followed. Okay, so please, this is indicative content that's which will go through VAT and different schemes we'll discuss in our discussion as well. So please, whichever years you're doing, always good to be look around the finance sector. So 12,570 pounds when you earn, you don't need to pay tax. If you earn more than that, we have to pay 20% tax. And the dividend rate is 8.75. If you earn more than 37,700, we have to pay 40% tax. That's we need to be look around. Okay, then personal allowance still is a 12,570 transferable as spent by partner. If you're working both 1,260 pounds can be transferred, and income tax limit 100,000. If you're earning more than 100,000, your personal allowance will be finished. That's the threshold we've been given. And that's the resident and not resident, that's quite crucial. If you're living more than 183 days outside the country, your residency will be cancelled and you're not anymore resident, like in terms of the benefit and the tax purposes. So you have to make sure, please follow the guidance of the residency child benefit, and that's it known as the benefit in kind. If you have company cards, and those will need to be declared if your income is more than, and your benefit will be the tax will be charged. Okay, so annual investment allowance is 100% rate of allowance is the expenditure limit is 1 million. If you have more than, then of course will be tax on, and we can look around the commercial, the structure building 3% state line depreciation. The financial corporation tax is 19%. Okay, so value added tax VAT threshold is registration 85 and deed registration 83. Please delete and fine, all these we need to keep in mind, and which will go through. Our NI contribution, of course, 12,570 pounds implies, it's 0% the NI, and if it's class 1. Employer 1 to 9,100 is 0. If you're earning more than 9,101 pounds, 13.8% employer contribution. Employer allowances went up to 9,000, which we can look around new Finance Act, that's the previous one, which we can. Finance Act 2024, 25, whichever you like to follow, please, you need to be look around. Of course, until 31st January, we can follow the previous year Finance Act. Okay, the purpose of the tax, it can be direct tax, indirect tax. We need to look around the ethical and dealing with the HMRC. Okay, so please, the taxation for the individual is the income tax, chargeable income in the UK, and the national insurance, and the capital gain tax and inheritance tax. So these are the taxation of individual need to be paid on. So please, a good tax system should be made, 5 basic. It need to be fairness, advocacy, simplicity, transparency, and administrative ease. That's why the government is want to be make taxes more digital, and there are the brief, the taxes should be based on the individual ability to pay, known as ability to pay principle, and that's which we need to be deal the taxes equally, and that's we need to be make sure follow the guidance accordingly. I copied a few links for you, please. It's quite good to enhance your further understanding. understand. The future of the tax system is a good tax system: fair, absolute, convenient, and efficient. Direct, indirect taxes, the rate, the structure, progressive, proportional, and regressive. We need to be. So please, the government need to be tax revenue on the finance expenditures such as health services and retirements and all, the fair, absolute, convenient, pay by, and efficient, the collection of the clients. Direct taxes are imposed directly to the person, and enterprise required to pay and tax on the personal income such as the salary. These are the direct taxes directly. Indirect taxes are imposed on one part of the economy, which is intention that the tax burden is passed to and others, and the VAT is the indirect tax, like input VAT you can claim and output you have to pay, that's what we can look around. Okay, the taxes are classified according to the base income tax on profit, asset is capital gain tax, and consumption is VAT. Progressive tax, these are the increase, the proportion of the income rise. For example, income tax, it charge 20%, 40%. It's a progressive tax and proportion. These are the take the same proportion of the income as the income rise proportionally. Yes, so and the regressive tax, which we can look around, that's, the decrease the proportion of the income rise. For example, the national insurance contribution, which is 12%, 13%, and 2% after 50,000. If you earn more than that, that goes towards pension. That's we need to be look around. Okay, so social justice system, and the income rise, proportional tax also rise, which we mentioned earlier. Regressive, as the income rise, the proportion tax paid falls. Yes. For example, the tax on the liter of the petrol is the same regardless of the level of the income of the purchase. And then this is the regressive tax as the represent, the greater proportion of the income for the lower income earner, and then the higher income that's not really is paying. So proportion tax, which we can look around these, and the income tax, taxable, which we can income tax calculate, income tax and not taxable, and don't include the income tax computation and clearly state, income is exempt. Main thing is the tax system. Anything is need to be more transparent, need to be good, well managed, and it need to be costly. It will be less, if you manage the tax and cost you a lot. That's really, because a lot of discussion on and a lot of articles being published, these tax, how this the behaviors of the consumer taxpayer, So please, as we need to be look around transparency, the chart, the gain rules, the affect the tax base, economics and the compliance costs, these need to be in line with, and tax administration is very, very important. So that's why it's crucial to keep the record up to 7 years, 6 years, 5 years plus grant years, so we can say 6 years. Tax planning is the legal use of the tax legislation, minimize the tax bills, and use the relief to reduce the tax bill. That's which we need to be legal use of the tax and the legislation, but not the following the intent the law. Use unintended loopholes, that's tax avoidance schemes, which is people follow those, and illegal ways to pay less tax, for concealing, that's the tax avoidance, which is illegal to do so, that's we need to be look around. Of course, the tax planning is illegal. We can reduce the tax bill, like, husband, wife, transfer this savings and all, so you have to look around in the tax planning. You can give the for the purpose of the tax is to raise the money for the government and provide the infrastructure, provide services, redistribute the wealth, to control the economy and encourage and discourage, different activities, so pension, contribution, smoking, import and export. Principle of the taxation system: neutral, efficient, simple, certain, effective, and fair. And the tax, which we can tax liability, in which we can year start and end date, which we can 6 of the 4th, and then of course, which we can look on the following years of the 5th. That's normally for tax purposes shows. Okay, tax basis is structure, tax base, and the tax rate. 3 possible: regressive, progressive, and income tax, and all which we just mentioned. The legislation, please, we have the Finance Act, we have Secretary Instrument, We have the compliance, from HMRC. Those we need to be a lot of case laws and parliaments, carry on passing the laws. Those we need to be look at. The UK tax system should the act of amendment, the case law in HMRC guidance, the statement of practice, extra secretary concession, which we can leaflet, revenues, custom rates, manual, and all. So that's the information we can provide to the clients as well. What is the residency test we mentioned. Shorter term tests, particularly early, we need to do it again, and we need to look around long-term tests, really home country of birth and the father's status and the domicile, those, originally from which country or nationality or, and those we need to be look around in the line of these. Otherwise, we're not going to put the people charge the right taxes. So the resident and domicile in the UK this year and domicile in the UK, 180 days. What is the planning and legally way of the government intend to pension schemes, and you can transfer those. The tax avoidance using the law, not the government intend to be complicated areas, bending the rules, exploiting the loophole form. However, this is more unethical but not illegal. So gray areas have used the tax avoidance scheme, self-employed businessman, wife, husband, and genuinely work, so that's it's fine. The tax avoidance always illegal, not declaring our statement and expensive these, which we not, and the tax advisor explaining the law, the legitimate, tax accountant is advised to in those line of using the law to reduce the bills and possible if we can unethical. Okay, PPCO, these are the ethics, 5 professional code of ethics, either you member of ATHE-IFA or any other. So we need to be act in the client interest, be open and constructive with the HMRC, and confidentiality is a crucial. Popular people check in office, professional behavior, professional competency, confidentiality, integrity, and objectivity. That's are the crucial which we need to be maintaining in the client's information. That's which we need to be carry on. Hello, Tariq. Are you any?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Any question, Tariq, you like to ask?
Just I got a bit late. Just join you. Sorry.
No, that's perfect. So this lesson we're going through very basic stuff. Just we're looking the Finance Act here.
All right.
So any Finance Act, we're looking the tax planning is illegal, tax avoidance, or tax avoidance. Yes.
Oh, I was doing assignment on the same top.
Yes.
Nowadays.
I seen your 1 or 2 messages, NI and all. Yes.
Yes.
So you was asking, we can discuss separately as well if you need to.
Thank you. Yes, please.
You have my number and things, which is on the WhatsApp group.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
So we can look around the money laundering. Of course, we have the Money Laundering Act, which we need to be integrity, objectivity, competency, due care, confidentiality, and professional behavior. So we can look around when we're looking at it, easy to remember. We can say popular people chat in office. So first P is the professional behavior, second P is the professional competence, C is the confidentiality, I is integrity, and O is the objectivity. Not compromise these job to be true and fair information, and return, in the best interest of and protecting all, everybody's interest. Act in the client interest. Yes, be open, constructive with the HMRC, confidentiality, tax return approval. Okay, then we have the money laundering officers should be in our organization, someone trained for self-employed report directly. If we have any problem, we can look around NCA, National Crime Agency, also deals, matter of the criminal activities. Bribery Act, we have 2006, which we're not supposed to be. Either you've been bribed or someone give you the bribery, which we can look around in the light of these, which we're not supposed to be compromised on these issues. Okay, so that's, which we need to be look around. So those, we need to be look around in those perspectives. These are the ethical guidance in confidentiality point of view. Yes, that's Tariq, really we need to be followed. Okay, So main thing, for this unit, please, when we'll start, I copied the link for you and the books available on our Moodle page. Have you followed the Moodle? Yes.
Yes, I got it. I'm there. Yeah.
Okay, brilliant. So we need to really look around the tax rate and the allowances. That's, we need to be look around in the Finance Act. Yeah.
All right.
So that's Finance Act. So we have the quite good website. If you want to deep dive into, you can, it's absolutely free because on the public domain, which we can say open tuition. Yes.
That open tuition, I think, I tried to log in it this, and I think that website is not working. I tried to grab the information, but not anymore.
No problem. I'll discuss 1 minute in with you in details, yes, and I'll show you how we can. Okay, main thing, today lesson is tax planning. We discussed tax avoidance. We discussed, earlier in our discussions, yeah. And
Okay.
that's, which we need to be look around. Our LO1 is more about, generic is resident 183 days. If you're living outside the country, your residency can be broken, yes. And NI class 1, class 2, these are depend which finance sector you follow. Or of course, anyone you can follow, but it's better to be follow the latest up to 31st January. We can use 2024 one, yes. And because that's 24 25 which we can do and use until 31st January in 2026, yes. That's really we need to look around. Okay, so that's today lesson, guys. We discuss about how we can find the rates and how we can apply, and we just discuss direct, indirect taxes. Of course, direct is the salaries, and indirect is VAT. Yes, and we discuss about VAT is a 20%. So when you're explaining the tax system, so please you can look around. Tax system need to be transparent. Tax planning is illegal. Tax avoidance is unethical. Tax avoidance is illegal. Yes, that's the key term which we need to be look around. And always good tax system need to be in progressive. Your tax increase, regressive. Tax proportion, like you putting the fuel. Doesn't matter yet the proportion of. So that's you've been given some examples. And please act of element and the law, which is Finance Act, we need to be follow, and domicile, which we need to be connected. And like tax avoidance, there is a gray area, yes, can be complicated. Tax planning is illegal. Tax avoidance always illegal. Yes, hiding things. So tax advice, which we can, and then we look the ethics and the money laundering. Of course, we need to be clearly not the Crime Proceed Act 2006 and the Bribery Act 2000 and 2010. It can be leads to the 10 years imprisonment, and those we need to be follow the guidance and the ethics. That's all.